Hey, what's up, man?
Hey,
Oh, wow, it looks so much bigger than you. Hold on, maybe I should turn it sideways. Yeah, that's all right.
trying to fix this
I like
layer on
I
my
like the haircut, man.
huh?
I like the haircut, man. It looks like you're in the military.
It's it was my barber's idea.
I like it. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Like Glenn Davis, Big Baby Davis.
Oh,
Oh,
great.
he's got a mohawk. Yo, Kyle got a mohawk. Awesome.
Thanks. So you're under the weather, huh?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I've been feeling nauseous, and then like I was supposed to be working today, and just I wound up sleeping most of the day, and the joints are hurting. And, like I had to take all kind of meds just to get good enough to look like I'm not dying on camera.
No, we can't hear you.
Ugh, yeah.
I guess he's gonna try and come back in.
All right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Or he didn't just bail on us.
Right. Hey, you guys record it. It'll be 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was trying to pair these
No, Wells, we couldn't hear you.
thing, but then they weren't picking up, so I don't know. I have to go without earphones tonight.
I didn't realize you wore earphones before.
I usually don't, but I just wanted to do it tonight.
Oh, okay. Gonna look like a sportscaster, like on site. All right, come on, man, with your technical difficulties.
I'm gonna have to do without this.
Hmm.
Too much glare. Okay.
That's better. Yeah.
It's like a headlight.
Yeah, I know. You need like powder.
Yeah, I told you I need a glam squad.
I got soft. I get both of these are LED lights. I got a ring light. Well, he ain't on yet, so I'll show you. So I got a ring
on, but
I got a ring light there that's like LED, but it's soft LED.
yeah.
And then I have this bulb that gets controlled by, like I can change the color of it or whatever. So
Yeah, this one, my ring light has different tones too, but I was just.
yeah, I stay with a natural tone. Yeah, there you go. That's better. Stay with a more natural lighting tone rather than that bright
harsh.
It's like that. Yeah, that video of that podcast I shot with King James. He was like, "You're too dark." I was just like this. I was like, "I look fine." He's like, "You're too dark." So I had to put on this harsh light. I was like, "Man, every wrinkle in the world is showing."
Like, he's having problems getting on.
He's sick.
It's recording, by the way, because I have it set to automatically start recording when I start a movie. I'm never gonna miss another.
I hear you. All right, he said can't hear you. Well,
So watch what you say because they'll play this back. Let's see.
I'll talk shit to him right to his face.
Oh, so I need to.
That's what he gets for being all fancy. You got that big old fancy condenser mic and shit.
Let me.
That's what he gets. This is the mic I recorded that voiceover on, by the way.
Right.
Did I ever show you this? How
Yeah,
fabulous.
yeah. I was impressed because it was gold.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. Blue Yeti. Liz bought me that.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, come on, bro. Get this working. Trying to drink water and keep myself late from getting nauseous.
Oh, yeah. Always stay hydrated at all costs.
Yeah. I don't think it's a flu or anything like that though, because I won't get into details, but I have reason to believe it's something that I ate. So it should pass through. Ugh. I always had stomach problems. My poor kid got the same damn thing.
Oh,
Star, yeah, that's what she was in the hospital all that time for.
right.
Stomach issues. Oh man, I told her, I was like, yeah, you might curse me for that, but you'll thank me when you reach 40 and don't age. It's ironic because I was looking at pictures of myself like 15 years ago. I look exactly how I look now. And when I was 16, I looked like I was 25. You know what I mean? Like I used to not get carded. I used to be able to go in the liquor stores at 16. And I remember back then the drinking age was 18.
All right, let's get pop. We don't want Kane to have his leftovers on the thing.
Explain that. Tell if you're gonna leave that in, tell people that I'm sick, but we still.
Well, he hasn't done the intro yet, so we're not gonna.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh yeah. Oh, you already recorded? Oh damn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we'll have to
recording.
redo that.
Tell him I'm a soldier. I'm still here.
He's trooping it out. All right, I'm ready. Oh, there it is. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Hoops All In Podcast. I'm your host, Werlins Francois. As always, we got Kane Legacy and Kyle Anthony in the building. What's up, guys? How you guys doing today?
What's going on?
Well, doing good, man. How about you?
How about
Hanging in
you?
there.
I'm lying. I feel like crap today, but I couldn't miss this conversation, man. So I had to be here.
Yeah, this will be a
Yeah, man. Shout out to Kane. He trooping it out for us.
Yeah.
little under the weather, but you know.
Yeah. Still here.
I never quite understood that expression, under the weather, because if the weather is really nice, but that's a whole other.
But it's the weather. How do you get under the? I don't know.
40 hold up. 40 degrees is not nice weather, man. I don't know who told
It
you
is
that.
compared to how
That's
this
not nice
winter
weather
has
at
been
all.
going.
That's still cold.
40 is better than
Yeah,
16.
but still, that's not the time. Listen, 40 degrees does not give you the right to go out in shorts. That's not short wind weather. Okay. It's still cold out.
Yeah, it doesn't. But you making me miss Phoenix now, so we need to move on.
So anyway, let's get talking.
Yes, let's get to it. So let's get to it. So as we all know that, the trade we're right smack dab in the middle of the season. So big time trades are happening. At the time of this recording, Karis LeVert was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Montez Sabonis was traded to the Kings. CJ McCollum, which was a shocking one, was traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. So, and we still got more trades to come, obviously, at the time of this recording. So we're going to talk about those three big trades that happened. And what do you guys think was the most significant impact of those trades? So I'll start with you, Kyle. You could go first.
I
Or
I mean,
Kane, whoever wants to go first.
well, I just feel like either anything that is spoken about ahead of time is constantly in the feed, constantly possible, coming up as a possible potential trade, does not come as a shock. I think what happens is when it comes out as when it comes out of the blue, that's when it's even more exciting. But as far as CJ McCollum going to the Pelicans, I just feel like that's definitely the Blazers' sign of they're saying, you know what, we're gonna do a slow rebuild, maybe not a completely hard reset, but more of a, we know that if we're gonna keep Dame at all, then we're just gonna have to rebuild around him. That backcourt, as dynamic as they have been all this time, it hasn't been winning them the games that they needed to win in the postseason. So I think that's the most interesting one because it really affects the outlook of two teams tremendous, like drastic and significantly.
Hey, what about you?
Well, I'm surprised Kyle didn't express that. The Knicks were interested in McCollum as well, and I guess the Pelicans won out on that.
They settled for Cam Reddish, and we see how that's going out in New York. Thibodeau's already benching his ass.
Yeah. So Kyle, you feel heartbroken about that, or you feel like you dodged the bullet on it?
I've never been. I don't want to say I wasn't a CJ. I'm not a CJ McCollum fan or anything like that. I don't feel like there's always going to be some magical solution. One player is going to be the savior. You know what I mean? I still in the school of thought that it's a team game and it's all about chemistry. It's all about combinations. It's all about matchups on a nightly basis as well. He'll provide some great offense, quote unquote veteran leadership. But at the end of the day, is he, when you take a player, and I think I mentioned this in one of the posts, one of my comments on the Hoops All In posts, are we taking a great player on and losing a lot of good players or several good players in the process, and then you leaving him with nobody to play with? You know what I mean? You always have to look at the team that is looking for, wanting to initiate this trade or acquire a certain player, or what do they have to give up if they have to give up anything? That could always be a setback, no matter what kind of star power. Sorry, so that's what I feel about that. I just don't think that he would have added some great offense, but
I mean, he's what, 24-4. You know what I mean? Like, it lends itself to me. You know what I mean? To believe that, like, at the end of the day, Portland wasn't giving up a ton. You know what I mean? But then in return, like, I agree with you. They're in the slow rebuild phase because they got what, a first round pick and 2 second round picks out of it, as well as all the other players. So I think Portland is, I think they're in a slow rebound. I rebuild. I don't know. I think, I don't know. I'd have to ask Worlds what he thinks. I know. I see it as a wash, the trade, but you know what I mean? Maybe it's a chemistry thing or something that we don't know about behind the scenes. I don't know.
See, you say wash, and that's how I feel about the Sacramento and Pacers trade. I feel
it's a bonus. Yeah.
Yeah, only because, excuse me, we're looking at not only Sabonis, but we're looking at how they acquired Halliburton. I feel like both teams are switching places from a team with a losing record on one conference to a team with a losing record in the other conference. You know what I mean? And then they're still talking about the possibility of Pacers, possibility of trying to move Miles Turner at some point, if not by the deadline, then during the offseason. So, whereas Sacramento hasn't been in the postseason in feels like decades, the Pacers are obviously looking at the same type of situation with Portland, as they're kind of doing a rebuild in motion. I
I don't know. It's not too many top of the. I mean, well, the Bucks were actually. Did you guys hear about this? The Bucks talking to the Celtics about Schroeder.
yeah. Well,
That would be a waste. They don't need Schroeder. They don't need Schroeder. They already have Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton as their guards. But let me go back to what you guys said about CJ. I agree. I think that we can't say the CJ McCollum trade wasn't a waste. It was, because based on the team he went to, like, we all know New Orleans isn't going anywhere. They're not a contender. Okay, Zion can't stay healthy, and they're trying to figure out themselves right now. I believe right now they're 13th in the Western Conference. So you don't have your star franchise player if he could ever get back on the court with his knee issues. And it's like, what was the point of adding CJ McCollum? He's 30 years old. That type of offense that he brings to the court, that'll probably be used for if he was traded to the Clippers. You know, if we see Kawhi's coming back, or if he decides to play this year, or maybe if he goes and say plays gets traded to Denver, somebody that can use another wing scoring, or maybe even the Jazz. He would have been great in the backcourt with Donovan Mitchell. Now they just lost Joe Ingles to a torn ACL. So I will have liked to see CJ get traded to a contender. The Pelicans, it just made no sense for both sides to do. And like you mentioned, Dame Miller said, "Hey, I don't want to trade out of Portland. I want to stay here." But they are not showing you moves and trades to show that they are serious about winning. They're literally trade all the pieces. They look at the Norman Powell trade. That was, you just made the Clippers 2 times better, especially if they get Paul George and Kawhi Leonard back. Norman Powell was averaging about 18, 20 points per game. So that was a waste. And now you trade away, the CJ McCollum, who's one of Damian Lillard's closest friends, and we've seen with that backcourt, was able to get to the Western Conference Finals one time. So I see it as a wash as well too. I don't know what was the point of that. What trade that obviously I want to say that gives the biggest significant impact, in my opinion, is Karis LeVert getting traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because right now Cleveland is, I believe, 4th in the Eastern Conference. They're tied with the Bulls at the time of this recording. They're 4th in the Eastern Conference. They're tied with the Bulls, we believe 33-21, 7-3 in their last 10 games. Not only that, they added extra guard who could score, space the floor out, and they lost Colin Sexton to injury, torn meniscus. Ricky Rubio is now out with ACL, which I believe they traded him away. So they didn't really have a guard who could score outside Darius Garland. And you're looking at Cleveland, they are building something really special in Cleveland. I mean, you would think when LeBron left twice, it was a shamble franchise. They wasn't doing anything. They're picking in the lottery every single year. Now, give credit to Kobe Altman, the general manager. Added veterans, Rondo, undercover move. They kept Kevin Love. Now you got All-Star and Darius Garland. You got a possible future All-Star and Evan Mobley, who also could be in the running for Rookie of the Year. So
and you got
Cleveland
Jared
is going to
Allen.
be making some noise.
You got Jared Allen too.
And Jared Allen too. Yeah. And he's reunited back with Allen from the Brooklyn days. So Cleveland is going to be making some noise in the upcoming years, especially with that they have right now with that core of LeVert, Garland, and Allen and Mobley. That team is gonna, young talent. They got some really good pieces that could be a foundation of something special down the line.
How ironic that they pulled it together just in time to have their All-Star game this year. Suddenly they're having the season that they're having.
Yeah. No, for real. But yeah, but like I said, I agree with you guys too. Sabonis was also waste. I mean, the Kings are 13th in the West. You trade away Houghton, I believe his last name
Halliburton.
was a young piece.
Halliburton.
Thank you.
Halliburton.
Buddy Hield. Halliburton. Buddy Hield. I just said that. Halliburton. Buddy Hield, obviously, he been wanted out, so I understand that move. So, that's combined 30 points of scoring from both of them. I guess they're possibly going to try to build around, Fox and Sabonis as the future. So, we'll see what happens with that. Only time will tell.
What about Tristan Thompson, though?
Oh, yeah, Tristan Thompson, too.
Bro,
Yeah,
Tristan Thompson is no
together,
more
too.
for putting his balls in other women. Listen, nobody care about Tristan Thompson. He's no more for putting his balls in other women than putting the ball in the hoop, okay? Let's be real about that.
Okay.
I think these trades
Am
were
I lying?
all about building for the next few years, because everybody knows at this point. You know what I mean? You got the Nets in the East, you got the Warriors and the Suns. in the West. It's like, you know what I mean? This is what's going to happen now. I don't think, you know what I mean? These teams, with the exception of the Bulls, but I didn't see any. Did they have any movement?
No,
They
not yet.
want
I don't
Schroeder too. They were talking to Schroeder. They're talking to the Celtics about Schroeder too. I don't know what happened with that though.
Yeah.
When
The
did
Bucks
Dennis
and the
Schroeder
Bulls both
become
put
a
an
hot
order,
commodity now?
an offer on the table for Schroeder.
So, Kane, are you basically, when you say, this is just a quick aside, I want to circle back to your comment about the Nets out of the East. So are we saying, or are you saying that they're going to make a sudden rebound because they've really had some.
All right, yeah. I mean, that being the case, I mean, Harden is doing terrible, so I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to give the Nets. I actually misspoke. I meant to say the Bucks. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. I'm allowed to misspeak.
Don't apologize to me. I was just saying I wanted you to,
clarify.
yeah.
No,
I don't
no,
want
people. I'm sorry. Before you start, dragging me in the comments. I meant the Bucks. My mind has been on the Nets lately, but I meant the Bucks in the East. Sorry about that.
But speaking of James Harden, Worlds.
Yeah. So speaking of James Harden, continue with our conversation. There's been rumors that he's been unhappy living in Brooklyn. He's been, in talks of possibly getting traded to the Sixers. There's been, a whole bunch of rumors of a Ben Simmons for James Harden swap. As we all know, he's close friends with Daryl Morey, who's the current general manager there, and president, excuse me. So what do you guys think of this whole James Harden situation? Obviously, we know he has a player option at the end of this season. There's been talks of possibly Brooklyn moving on from him, but GM Sean Marks is not taking any calls from the Sixers. So what do you think if you were James Harden? What do you guys think of this James Harden situation? Could he possibly go and ask for a trade to the Sixers to play with Embiid, or do you see him waiting out his contract and then going and signing there as a free agent?
I think he's honestly, my honest feeling is that he only went to the Nets to get an easy championship. You know what I mean? Playing with KD again, he probably felt the ring was just guaranteed. And when I watch his play, it just looks like that to me. You know what I mean? I think he's kind of resentful of the whole Kyrie situation, not to bring that up again, but it's like, had Kyrie been playing all these games, the Nets probably would be first in the East right now. That's the way I feel. You know what I mean? And I'm no big, huge Kyrie fan, as you know, but I have to say that. You know what I mean? I think that if Kyrie was playing all these games, so I think Harden is just resentful. Personally, I think he needs to get over himself. You know what I mean? But we've heard this a lot of times, you know what I mean, with a lot of players in the league. They can't get out of their own way in order to get that key team chemistry built. It also shows to me that OKC was winning all those games back in the days because of Kevin Durant, period. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, it really wasn't a big three. They did, Russ and Harden did what they did because Kevin Durant freed them up to do it. You know what I mean? Like, Harden just seems like a man without a country right now. So he might ask for a trade. I believe he will. You know what I mean? And, same thing with Russ. I think Russ is a man without a country out in LA. You know what I mean? We don't need it. They don't need a point guard. They need more of a traditional point guard, which is why the Rondo move surprised me, because they need somebody that's going to distribute the ball to their big guys. They don't need a point guard trying to, you know what I mean, like tear up the lane all the time like Russ does. And he can't shoot the three. I won't say it. He can't shoot the three for anything. So, I mean, I think the two of them just are not in the right spots. Maybe the Nets and Lakers could pull a trade. I don't know.
Well, that's why I say, it's funny how sometimes you see sometimes you get the moves, the trades and whatnot, and off-season acquisitions, and you say, that's interesting. And you don't think, and then it turns out that, maybe there's a little bit of an X factor, but there's also the matter of, GMs really doing their due diligence and finding ways and saying, you know what, I think the chemistry could work here. I think the balance, the combination, all these things are good. And then you have the moves that are made that seem like they were made in a fantasy league, where it's like, oh, let's just get this star. Let's get this star. We're going to just rack up the championships. You know what I mean? And you know, at the end of the day, you're gonna find out, at the end of the season, you're gonna find out who was, you know, who had the pipe dreams and who had the real plans. You know, I feel like, you know, if Harden is as good as he thinks he is, or says he is, or everybody says he is, then he can find a way to make it work. You know, I mean, there's other factors involved with this season, like the rule changes in terms of foul calls. You know, that foul that he was always, you know, getting called in his favor, you know, in Houston is no longer there for him. So he's getting to the line a lot less. You know, yeah, he wants a shortcut, and you know,
Yeah.
you don't get on the fast track to a championship just because that's what you want and that's what you think you deserve. You know what I mean? When you get to play in this level, it's a privilege. It's your gift that got you there, but it's a privilege. It's not a right. You know what I mean? And neither is a championship. And you know, even if he did win, he's going to be remembered as a guy who, you know, chased the money, but you know, because he felt he was the superstar too big for OKC, so he went and signed with Houston, and then moved his way out of Houston to Brooklyn. And now, if he wants to make another move, you know, if he doesn't get a championship in Brooklyn, and even if he does get one in Philly, he's going to remember, yeah, oh, he got a ring, but he was the one that was chasing the opportunities from team to team, you know, like treating them like one night stands. That's how I feel.
It's like everybody's trying to replicate what happened with the Celtics in 08 and then a few years later with the Heat. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to get this big three, you know what I mean, popping. I had my doubts about it in Brooklyn from day one, if you want to be honest, you know, like I really did. Because if the way I feel, and Worlds is probably not going to like this, but if the way I feel, if Kyrie was playing, right, Harden probably wouldn't be whining. They'd be winning. You know what I mean? Kyrie took a stand that had nothing to do with basketball. It's not a basketball talent thing. It's just the fact that these guys are all prima donnas except for KD. You know what I mean? That's, you know, I said it. You know?
But then there's also the fact that they've hardly played that many games together. You know,
well, whose fault is that? That's
between
their
last
fault.
season and this season. Have they played a full season? Have they played at least 82 games together? No.
Yeah, no, by warming up the bench over there, you know. So like the Nets, like I said, I really misspoke when I put them in, in the top place in the East. But I don't, you know what I mean. I'm not a big fan right now. KD, I'll always be a fan of. You know what I mean. But I'm not a fan of the team, the dynamics. I've never been a Harden fan. I think he travels every time he steps back. You know, so, like
just be careful you don't draw KD's ire on Twitter.
I ain't worried about any of these dudes.
Well, you see how he went at Stephen A. Smith a couple days ago. That was funny.
Who's this now?
Huh?
Who is this now?
KD.
Kevin
Smith
Durant
said something about him. Yeah, and then Kevin Durant like clapped back, talking about, "Oh, you're gonna have your minions, and you're trying to push a narrative about his career." I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along those lines. And then, and then Mama Durant, Kevin Durant's mother, also had to chime in too, and then he just ended up apologizing, like, "I'm sorry, Mama." So,
you know,
I mean, KD is a raw dude, man, and he is also, you know what I mean. He's also the real deal. You know, he doesn't have anything to do with this Stephen A. Smith. I don't like him, by the way, either. So.
Oh yeah, I can't stand Stephen A. either.
Yeah,
I don't like Stephen A. I agree with you on that. But hold on, because I see Kyle's gonna say something. But before Kyle says something sick about KD's mom responded, just know Stephen A. and KD's mom have a very good. Yeah, no, Stephen A. and KD's mom have a very good relationship. I believe I saw an episode where Stephen A. Smith's mom died. She actually reached out to him, and they have a very good relationship. She just knows, like, yo, don't come after my boy like that. That's a mom love right there. So I saw you. He's gonna say, Kyle's gonna say something. Why are you a 33-year-old man? You got your mama coming for you, or defending your battles on Twitter.
I mean, you know, I won't begrudge his mom for doing that or whatever. You know, what's his name? who are they guarding in the on the Bucks last season that um
Ooh, wait, the Bucks.
KD
Giannis?
who's guarding KD in the on the that was on the Bucks last
Oh, PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker.
They also have words, but their mom, he's also really cool with KD's mom too. So apparently,
Yeah.
KD's Ms. Durant is, the cool mom, the cool basketball mom,
Yeah.
even if her son is, in his early 30s. I got no problem with that. It's funny. It's funny when when everybody is having the Twitter wars. It's, what I mean? But I don't think that I definitely don't think he needs anyone jumping to his defense on Twitter. He loves the rapid fire thumbs.
Yeah, he gets into it. He gets busy.
We got
I
some
ain't worried
Twitter
about
fingers,
KD
man.
coming from me. I'd be more worried about Kyrie coming from, but I don't care about Kyrie, so
Oh, well,
whatever.
but anyway,
Man,
Whatever,
Kyrie still
boy.
feels the same way. Kyrie feels
I'm
the
sure
same
he
way.
do too, man. You know what I mean? Look, it ain't about what they doing or what I'm doing. It's about what we doing to each other, and that's absolutely nothing. So I ain't worried about it. I got my opinions. He can come and criticize me when I'm
Yeah,
DJing one day. Like that. That'll be fair.
No,
Katie, Kyrie
yeah,
Irving
so
is
yeah, my
very
thoughts are
talented. He's very talented. I have to say that every episode. He is very talented. My issues with him, one is how he left the Celtics. I didn't like that. You know what I mean? And two is just everything is about off the court antics now. And I'm tired of it. I'm done with
yeah,
it.
it does become a distraction after a while.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're talking, the first thing you're talking about is your off-court behavior, then
Yeah.
I mean, more so than what you're doing on the court. So I do agree with that. Sometimes your personality becomes so big that it becomes, everything you do outside of your game, outside of your career, outside of your lane, becomes the first headline.
Exactly.
Not even to come and sound like a Kyrie apologetic or anything, but don't you think that the media just hates the guy? Like, let's be real.
I don't agree.
Don't media?
Well, why would they hate him? Why would they
look what they try to do? But look what they did with LeBron James when he first came into the league. All the pressure that they put, and every time he had one bad game, first thing you see, LeBron James chokes again. Skip Bayless, prima donna, choke artist, choke game.
They're still doing that to LeBron. I mean, they do that to superstars. Like, it's the superstar's job to prove them wrong. You know what I mean?
But it's also not us as the media, because that's what we're doing now, is to continue to push an agenda on how we feel of somebody. Everybody can have their own personal opinions about somebody, whether it's a player, whatever, they're off the court issues, whatever. But our job is to base and criticize what we see them perform on the court, on the football field, or whatever sport that they participate in. That's what we do. And it's like, yeah, you may not like the guy in person. Like, look what happened with Rodgers when, he took his stance and what he used around the whole vaccination controversy. He got a lot of backlash for that. Yeah. But guess what? Shannon Sharp, who's one of the analysts I love, he's like, listen, I may not like the guy personally, but he's one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen. Always heaps praise on him. So why can't we do that? And that's another thing why I don't like Stephen A. Smith, because he pushes such an agenda with his hatred towards certain players onto the ESPN audience. Like, dude, your job as a commentator, you commentate and critique on their play. They probably don't give a damn about you either. Yeah. So, like, what? Like, who cares? Okay, you don't like them. They don't like you. They don't. Your job is to talk about them. If they were not doing what they weren't doing, you wouldn't have a job in the first place. Let's just be real.
Look,
you know what I'm saying?
Not to sound like Laura Ingraham, because I can't stand her. Now, that's a person I cannot stand. So I'm not over here saying shut up and dribble. You know what I mean? That's not really the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is when the off-court stuff takes away, it's the same point you were making. When the off-court stuff takes away from what's going on the basketball court, you know what I mean? That's when I have an issue, because, I'm a fan of the sport. I don't know these guys, and I don't really care one way or the other. Like, they don't care about me. You're right about that. You know what I mean? The only thing we share in common is the love of basketball. They're getting paid for it. I pay to watch it. You know what I mean? It's just become a little too much. And I agree with you. Stephen A. Smith does take his agenda off the court. You know what I mean? And that's why he's constantly getting slapped down. For me, I think Kyrie is a world-class talent. He could be doing a lot more for Brooklyn. You know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? The guy's one of the best players on the planet.
No, you're right. Like I said, we talked about the Kyrie situation. If you know how I feel, if they just
Yes.
lifted the mandate, this would be no
Yes,
issue.
yes, we know.
But this, no, hold on, but before I finish, but this is the current situation that they're in, and if we'll talk about James, we'll go back to James Harden before we get sidetracked. So my thing is that James Harden, I think that this dude is just lazy. Like you said, Kane, and Kyle said too, he's just chasing the chip. Dude,
Yeah.
you were in OKC. That didn't work out, contract reasons, whatever. Okay, so you go to Houston. That is your franchise. You asked for Dwight Howard. You got Dwight Howard. You asked for Russell Westbrook. You got Russell Westbrook. You asked for Chris Paul. You got Chris Paul. Hell, you even okayed the trade for John Wall. They gave you John Wall. All those 4 stars that you got didn't work out. So now you okay the trade to go to Brooklyn because you know you're going to be playing alongside KD and Kyrie. It's like, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm in the Eastern, blah, blah, blah. And now all of a sudden, a little adversity hits. Okay. Kevin Durant, listen, he's one of the greatest players of all time. He's injury prone. Coming back from that Achilles, I think he has set the foundation on how to bounce back from an Achilles injury because this dude is averaging like 30 a game off of a torn Achilles, which is just ridiculous. But KD has become injury prone. Kyrie situation, that's going on. And hopefully whatever happens in the future, if the mandate gets lifted or he decides to get it, that's that man's personal choice. We're not here to attack him. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens in the future. But with the whole Kyrie situation, so haven't really got a chance to play with your 2-star players. Yes, I understand we'll be frustrated, but Harden is to blame for this too. Harden is going to miss at the time of this recording, Harden is going to miss his 3rd straight game with a hamstring. Harden was dog shit last year against the Bucks because of a hamstring injury. So you had reoccurring hamstring injuries. So you haven't been healthy yourself. You came into the season out of shape. That's number one. Also, your
hamstring injury is an indicator that somebody's not working in the offseason.
Exactly. Thank you. Just continue to prove my point. You're averaging 22.5 points per game. Anybody who doesn't know basketball will look at his average like, whoa, he's 22.5. Harden is a career 25 points per game scorer. Ever since he left OKC to go to Houston, he's averaging 29 a game in his career. This is his 4th lowest scoring average in his career. Guess what? 33% from the 3. Also his lowest scoring average in his career. Oh, guess what? 41% from the field, his lowest scoring average. So has career lows mainly across the board besides, assist and your win share percentage. But you've missed time because of your hamstring. Hamstrings, they could last for a while. And not only that, you seem to just complain when things you can't face adversity. So a little adversity hits, all of a sudden you what you want to do is get up and quit. You get up and quit Houston. You wanted the trade to Brooklyn. He chose Brooklyn over Philly. That's for a fact. And now it's like, well, I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, KD, he's in and out. Okay, if Newark didn't have the mandate, Kyrie would play. Okay, I'm just gonna go. Let me go play with Embiid. And you think going with Philly is gonna be better? Number one, they want to say, well, he has a proven head coach. Doc Rivers has the most blown 3-1 playoff leads in history. Okay, how that Ben Simmons fiasco gonna work out? We're gonna see what that's gonna look like. And you're gonna play with the superstar who is not dependable at all. And Embiid's injury history, is a long laundry list of itself. He can't stay healthy. So you're leaving 2 superstars to play with one who is an if factor on dependability. I just don't, again, if these rumors are true, I haven't, contacted my source about this, but if these rumors are true that he's so unhappy living in Brooklyn and he's upset about the Kyrie situation, upset that KD can't stay healthy. They only played 16 games together. Okay, injuries are part of the game. We didn't expect for this situation to happen, Kyrie, but adversity is part of sports. Your job as an athlete is to overcome adversity. Stop bitching, stop crying, stop complaining. You sign up for this. You don't know what the future holds because guess what? Before KD went down, they were number 1 in the Eastern Conference. KD goes down, they slide all the way to 7th at the time of this recording. So you don't know if KD comes back and they start balling again and they jump back into seedings. What is he gonna? Is he still gonna complain? Oh, well, we're not winning. Like I was one of the people, like I said, who was low key. I agree with you, Kane, who was not really the biggest fan of the James Harden move because as a Nets fan, we gave up a lot of talent. Look what Jared Allen is doing in Cleveland. Look at what Karis LeVert he's about to be doing it in Cleveland as well too. So it's just
Yeah.
you know, you as an athlete, adversity is gonna hit you, and then when he hits adversity, the first thing he does is just cries, complains, and wants to jump shit to another team. I don't find that cool.
It's like Lamar Odom.
He was on crack. As Stephen A. would say,
Well, you never know.
he was on crack.
You never know, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. But like I say, you know, I mean, it's clear the air between, you know what I mean? That's because I know on these shows we constantly go back and forth about Kyrie Irving, and I want to definitely make that point. He is the supreme talent in the NBA, one of the best in the world at what he does. You know what I mean? I want him and KD to play up to their potential. And if James Harden leaving helps them do that, then that's better for the team, you know?
But here's the thing. If they were to facilitate a trade involving Ben, I don't think it would be straight up because you got to make the contract first. Say if they do James Harden for Ben Simmons, you throw in Maxey and Seth Curry has been a name out there with like a second round draft pick. In my opinion, I think that would make Brooklyn 10 times better because we all want to clown and Ben Simmons about him not being able to shoot outside 10 foot. If he's in Brooklyn, he doesn't need to shoot the basketball because he has KD and Kyrie Irving to do all the shooting. Only thing he has to do is just I get to distribute the ball and play defense. And I got these two guys who are capable of scoring 30 a night. Not only that, you bring in Maxey to it as part of the trade, extra depth. Seth Curry spacing the floor, 3-point shooting. And you got a couple of draft picks you could, package that and whatever, because they're going to have to give up some assets because they can't sign Harden outright if he decides to go into free agency. It's going to be, I was watching ESPN, they said it's going to have to be involved with sign and trade. So if Harden was like, you know what, yeah, get me out of Brooklyn, it's like, okay, we'll take Ben Simmons off your hands, Philly. You got to give us Maxey. They're probably going to have to do a third team to unload Harris's contract. So I think that will make Brooklyn better because of Ben Simmons' playing style fitting with what the pieces have around in the Nets because he doesn't have to shoot.
Assuming Ben Simmons is happy in Brooklyn, because you see what happened in Philly. I mean, he's a guy that if he's not happy, he's not going to play up to his potential. So, yeah.
He won't play at all. He just said screw my contract. Even though I'm getting paid millions of dollars, I just don't want to play. That's the person who we should be giving the most hate to. Like, hey, even though I'm signed to a contract, I don't want to play. Why? My coach said something sus about me if I don't know if I can help a team win. What? So I
don't have to say anything because you can look at Joel Embiid's face every time you see him, and he says it all. You know what I mean? Like, every time I look at his face, especially if Ben Simmons comes up, you know what I mean? Like, he says everything I would say much better to me without opening his mouth and saying a word. So everybody's disgusted with that. If he goes to the Nets, you know what I mean? That's kind of like, would you agree? That's kind of a last shot for him. You know what I mean? If he was to go to the Nets and subpar, I'm not happy doing this crybaby stuff. Come on, man. Enough is enough already. Yeah. I haven't heard KD complain once.
Just circling back. I'm sorry to cut you off, but just circling back to what Ben Simmons would not have to do if he was in Brooklyn. First of all, it would have to be a matter of how that trade would pan out and what personnel were involved. But what he wasn't doing in Philly was a glaring hole in it because it came at the worst times. It always happened in the postseason. Okay, yeah. He was fine. He was steady in the regular season, and he did do what he had to do. He was adequate enough for them not to complain during the regular season. It was the glaring deficiencies in at the line with the ball in his hands if he had to shoot and things like that. It was not being clutch that was the problem there. You know what I mean? Now, I feel like if you are a star, one of the stars on your team, and you are a starter, then you should never be a liability at any point in the game. No one should be fouling you just to stop the clock, put you on the line because you're not a good free throw shooter. No coach should have to take you out because they need offense on the floor, and you can't provide that at all with the game on the line. That's how I feel. You know,
I agree.
and I think that kind of thing is a more of a mentality thing. I don't think it's a talent lacking on his part. So really, it depends on where he goes. It depends on his chemistry with teammates. It depends on coaching. It depends on matchups. All those things that I said earlier. You know, I don't think it's an automatic bid to a championship if he's playing with Kyrie and Durant. That's all I'm saying. You know, there's no guarantee. We've been talking about no guarantees in terms of Harden. There's no guarantee that either one of them is going to have success if they swap places. So, you know, I really just feel like with Ben Simmons, it was a matter of the like I said, the deficiencies in the postseason that showed up. That's why everybody was dogging him.
Yeah.
And to your point, Kyle, like, has he ever had somebody who he respects kind of be a mentor to him? Like, obviously, you know, who's the leader? If that trade happens and he goes to the Nets, and it was like, all right, we gotta work in your game. Who's the leader on the Nets? Because KD is not a leader. He just wants to go out and hoop. He's not a vocal leader in the locker room. Kyrie, I haven't really seen that from Kyrie being in terms of a vocal leader. Like, he's a leader on the court, but in terms of like, all right, guys, let's go follow me. We're gonna do this. Who's the leader? Who's gonna like hold these guys accountable? It's like, yo, Ben, get your stuff together. I mean, Embiid's not a vocal leader in Philly, so who is it?
Right.
So do you think maybe that, again, I'm not trying to coddle Simmons because you're 6 years in the league and you haven't developed a jump shot. You got to work on your game. But I don't think he has somebody who's in his ears like, yo, get your ass in the gym, work on this. I'm gonna do this with you. Come on, let's go. We need to elevate your game to take us to the next level. Like, who's that vocal leader? I don't think it's Simmons. Doc is an overrated leader in my opinion. So who's the vocal leader that Simmons has had around his career to kind of tell him like, yo, get your butt in the gym and work.
Right. Well, maybe he hasn't, but that's the value of when they talk about having a veteran presence in the locker room. That's what they talk about when they you know, they mention having someone on your team that has that dog mentality. You know, you've got to have if a team can't always police themselves, you have to have somebody in there that is not afraid to get in the teammate's face and bring them back to reality and bring out the fight in them if they have to, even if they're not playing, you know, because that's important. And, you know, you win together, you lose together. And you know, that's the value. Those are the little intangibles that don't show up in the stat lines, is those veterans, those guys who have that dogfight and say, yo, you know what? Get your act together. We need you to do this and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So
it's not always the best player on the team either. Like,
right.
I feel like
Not
on the Warriors, it's
exactly.
Draymond Green does that in the Warriors. You know what I mean? Like, he get up anybody's face. You know what I mean? I think a lot of teams, though, it's not just particular to the Sixers or Nets. I think a lot of teams lack leadership like that, like a team captain kind of role.
Yeah,
a lot of them do. I mean, you know, in the LA, you know, that's going to be LeBron. You know what I mean? In certain situations, but I think a lot of teams are lacking that kind of chemistry.
Yeah. So that always has to be taken into consideration too. It's not just about, let me get the brightest star and the one who can give me 30 points a night. There's got to be balance, you know?
Did you guys, to slightly change the subject a bit quick, did you guys see Russ competing with Dwight Howard for that rebound so he can have a triple-double game?
Yeah,
Howard
I saw that.
Because we're talking about team chemistry here and somebody being a leader or whatever. Hey, Russ, it's crazy because I love Russ as a player, but I don't know. He's just so disappointing, man. It's like there's no thought of the team at all in that guy. Like,
yeah, well.
So it's the same thing. You know, every team needs a leader. And you guys are both right about that.
And then leadership comes in different ways. It's not just the ways I explained. Sometimes it's knowing when to hit the gas, and sometimes when to hit the brakes. It's knowing when you have to defer to the right person, and you know, and not worry and make a sacrifice your game if necessary. That's also leadership.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, we got half the season left to go, so anything can happen from now up until April. So we'll see. But Yeah, all right. Hopefully, the Nets regroup as right now at the time it's recording. Eight game losing streak. Could be 9 or could be 10. Maybe it could
Oh
be
man.
20 till KD. Could be 20 until KD comes back. It could be
Oh.
a strong case for his MVP.
Yeah, well then maybe they can just get a decent lottery pick.
Guys, can you edit this out right here? I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right, continuing with the conversation here. So NBA All-Stars have been announced. Team LeBron versus Team KD. Obviously, there's going to be a mock draft of that to kind of switch things up. So now that we have All-Stars, I want to do a little mock draft with you guys on, you guys get to pick the 12 players who you want on your roster. I mean, if you want me to be moderator, if you want me to pick, go at it. But let's do a little quick mock draft here to kind of recap this episode. So, I mean, I kind of want to pick. We could flip a coin. Who could do? Who goes to pick first, or something like that.
You can go first. That's fine with me. Yeah, you guys can go first.
I mean, because there's 3 of us, so somebody's got to be a moderator, like Ernie Johnson does on Inside the NBA.
That's fine. I'll do it because I know you guys are itching to make your picks. So I'm good with being moderator.
All right, cool. So Kyle's Ernie. All right.
You always know
Yeah,
when
I'll go
somebody
first.
comes into it with an agenda. It's like, you want me to be a moderator because I really, really wouldn't mind picking.
Yeah.
Always.
He just wants to criticize our picks. That's all. Do we have to
Yeah,
go
I
down
mean,
the
you
whole
have to criticize
12-man
our
roster?
pick.
Can we just do
All right.
12?
Well,
Yeah, why don't we just go with the starters then, huh?
Yeah.
okay. I mean, unless we're gonna have a 5-on-5 for the whole 48 minutes. Let's see. Starters. Obviously, I'm gonna go with the best player ever. Number 6, LeBron James, 6'8", 250. That's my number 1 pick.
Okay,
Can't go
Kane,
wrong with that.
your second pick. Kane, your first pick, brother.
As much as it breaks my heart to say it, I hate this. I hate it, but I have to go with Steph Curry.
And you hate Steph Curry?
I can't stand. You know that. I don't like the Warriors, but I'd have to. I can't deny the fact that he would be my number 2 pick. I mean,
Okay.
what am I going to do? Put Chris Paul in front of Steph Curry? Come on, yeah.
I mean, hey, your Phoenix Suns, they'll definitely
Well, the rest, the other
but
3 would be. 2 of them would be Phoenix Suns. So
Okay, well, okay, your second pick, where else?
all right. So since he countered with a guard, I'm gonna have to counter with a guard too. I'm going with the young boy out of Memphis, number 12, John Morant.
I knew he was going for Ja.
Interesting.
All right. I need another
tough.
guard. So I mean, I got to go with my boy Book.
Ah.
I have to go.
Mm,
That's
D-Book.
pretty good. That's a good backcourt.
So wait, hold on. D-Book
Steph
D-Book
Curry,
is
Steph Curry, and Devin Booker in the backcourt. That's pretty good.
So wait, okay. So we just picking starters. We don't have to pick the whole. Oh, we're
Yeah.
picking from the
I'm
starters only.
at 2. You're at 2.
Okay, all right. So you got D-Book. I'm not surprised, you Phoenix fanboy.
Absolutely, all day.
All right, I'm
But
gonna
remember, I've been a Phoenix fan boy from the beginning of the season before the first game was played when we recorded our first episode. So
You should have said you've been a Phoenix fan since like when Steve Nash, Amari, and Sean Marion.
I loved Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash.
Yeah,
Yes,
Amari was
I
tough.
did. Absolutely.
Let's see.
Just
You keep
a,
laughing.
just
You're
a-
gonna be mad when they win the championship. I
just
know
a
you are.
fun, just a fun fact. I had a conversation with Sean Marion in a McDonald's one day in Times Square.
Really?
Yes.
They got his
Really?
autograph.
Oh, wow.
Man.
But anyway, I digress.
All right, Wells.
All right. I'm gonna need to go with a forward. So I'm gonna go with the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 2-time MVP.
Okay.
All right. Well, I need a center, and I need to go to all around games. So I'm going with the Joker.
That's a
Yeah.
good pick.
Need a good all around game.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
That is a very, very good pick. Okay.
Your first pick
hmm.
for us.
I'm gonna need me another explosive guard. somebody who has been hot and getting shots
You
off.
going with Trey
ease.
Young? Just go ahead.
Nah, I'm not.
Really?
Nah, I'm not going with no. See, that you're wrong. I'm not going with Trey Young.
Really?
I'm going with Mr. 315, DeMar DeRozan from the Chicago Bulls. 27
Really?
a night. Yes, sir.
That's a,
Uh-huh.
oh, well, you already had a point guard though, so yeah.
Mhm.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. What I got forwards now, right?
So your fourth pick, Kane.
Huh?
Your fourth pick now.
Yeah, I got a forward. I got 2 forwards left. I was just talking about team chemistry, but I can't do it. Numbers just ain't there. I'll go with Luca.
Ah,
I'll go with Luca.
Mm,
Yeah,
Luka, okay.
I go with Luca. I'm rounding my team out, man. We got good stats across the board, but we really strong offensively. So
mhm.
Mm,
Okay.
okay, Luka. All right, well, let's see. I have Giannis who could play the center, but I do need a big down below who could dominate. So you know what? I'm gonna go with injury-prone Joel Embiid.
What I got? One more forward. All right, he's kind of small, but as a Celtics fan, I gotta go with Agent Zero, Jason Tatum. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So you each got your 5 starters.
Mm-hmm.
And you chose Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Jokic, sorry.
The Joker.
Jokic.
And where else you got? Ja Morant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, DeMar DeRozan, and Joel Embiid.
Oh man.
What we should do,
Giannis and LeBron being on the same team is all that scares me on that, really. That's terrifying.
what's going to be what I would really like to do is regroup after the All-Star weekend and see how you guys did in terms of your players' stats.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Interesting.
All
I
right.
like
How about
that. I
this?
like that a
The
lot.
the loser buys the winner's dinner when I come down to New York. How about that?
That was kind of loaded. That was kind of stacked in someone's favor.
Man, he was ready.
Yeah, I had this bet ready to go, man. Yeah, man, I'm all about that money. Or a nice, expensive New York dinner.
Oh, so is there no limit to the menu or the price?
Ooh.
Yeah, they set a limit. You can't. Yeah, don't be like, oh yeah, go to some steakhouse and order $200.
Lobster tails for me, please. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Caviar.
Kyle, you laughing until he asks you to spot him, then you ain't gonna be laughing.
Hey, I'm a moderator. I did not. I'm not. I'll be watching the game strictly for enjoyment. I have enough drama with my own fantasy league team. I can't get involved in this one.
I don't know. LeBron's. I don't know. It's the only thing I think really saves me is I got Steph just sniping it from outside, man. Much as I don't like him, but I need him. And he can kick it to because Steph's actually doing pretty good with assists. So,
Yeah.
I mean, in today's
up there.
NBA, to have like 6-7 assists per game is pretty good, man. Especially for somebody that's lights out like him. Yeah. So we'll see. I think it's gonna be good. So what stats we going by? The points, assists, rebounds.
Yeah. We're gonna be doing all that. We're gonna see and bonus. Since you're doing dinner bet, how about if one of the players gets to be the all-star, the MVP of the game, they get the dessert as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it. We can do Sizzlers. Sizzlers reasonable.
I like that.
Sizzlers?
Yeah.
Are there still any Sizzlers?
I haven't been in New York in years.
Clearly.
I don't know what's down there anymore. Juniors. You go to Juniors.
Oh, there you go.
Juniors. How about that?
Oh boy.
Oh man, juniors. Hey, listen, anything we as long as it's not something cheap. That's all I care about.
As long as it's nothing. Okay.
He said, as long as it's not cheap.
As long as it's not cheap. Okay. So
Yeah, like not. It can't be like some $2. Like what I
of
mean,
course
Oh
not.
no. Yeah, like you know, it don't have to be Windows on the world. Well, we don't have Windows on the world anymore, right?
No,
Um,
because there's no World Trade Center.
There's no World Trade.
But,
Sorry, guys.
Ooh,
It
too soon,
doesn't have to
too
be
soon.
Tavern on the Green. It can be, you know what I mean, Applebee's or TGIF or something like that.
Wow.
oh yeah,
Fancy like
okay.
it's fancy like Applebee's.
Hey.
Okay.
Well,
can get
I'm
you some
trying to
boneless
take it
wings
easy
off
on my man.
Applebee's.
You know, I'm not gonna
So
do
basically,
Tavern
you're
on the Green.
assuming you're assuming that you're already going to win because you're trying to take
course.
it easy on his
Of
pockets.
course.
I get it.
But Kyle, as long as you know me, when have you known me not to assume I'm gonna win? Right?
All right.
I don't know any other way to play.
So this is going to be good, folks.
Mm.
Tune in
Yeah.
on our next time after the All-Star game.
All-Star.
This is going to be very, very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely can't wait for that. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, this episode was executive produced by Rain Multimedia, and shout out to Kane Legacy for doing the music on that. Follow them, Rain Multimedia, on Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to their YouTube channel. Also subscribe to World TV. Follow World TV on Instagram, Twitter, and all that good social media stuff. Worlds, Kyle, Kane. This has been another episode of Hoops All In. Signing out. Peace.
Peace.